What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the JT Sports Podcast. I'm your host, JT. Thursday night football is in the books. Jameis Winston and the Browns upset the Steelers 24-19. This loss doesn't surprise me. This is your normal Mike Tomlin special where the Steelers play down the competition. This is the third loss this year where they've lost to a team with a losing record. They lost back-to-back early this season before they made the quarterback switch to Russell Wilson to the Colts and the Cowboys. And not only does this loss hurt in terms of the Steelers being able to maintain control of first place in the division, but it also makes me concerned about if they're even going to make the playoffs, because around this time last year, they were 7-4. They were playing some good football, and then they lost three straight. 2 out of 3 of those losses came against the Cardinals and the Patriots, who were 2 of the worst teams in the league at that time. And I'm not really that confident that the Steelers are going to finish this season off strong. And I want to give my thoughts on this game and explain my concerns more in depth about Pittsburgh. Before you dive into it, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon if you're new so you don't miss when we drop new content and when we go live. And let's dive into it. So the Cleveland Browns take down the Steelers in a snowstorm. With how hard that snow was coming down in this game, you would have thought that Frosty the Snowman was coming to town. And I don't know about y'all, but I had a hard time seeing a good amount of what was going on during the field because it seemed like they were playing in the middle of a blizzard pretty much. But this was a really sloppy showing by Pittsburgh offensively. The offense struggled for the first 3 quarters, and then in the fourth, they were able to make some things happen. You got a really good touchdown drive, and then you're able to capitalize off a fumble. And with the momentum shift that happened in the middle of the fourth, you would have thought that the Steelers were going to win this game, but they don't get the 2-point conversion try, which was really huge, because if you make that, your final drive, instead of you having to drive the length of the field, needing a touchdown to win it, you could have just got in the field goal range, set up Chris Boswell for a potential game-tying field goal, and sent it to overtime. So not getting that 2-point try was huge for Pittsburgh. The play calling was off today. This definitely was one of the worst games I've seen Arthur Smith call as the offensive coordinator for the Steelers. Really predictable. The passing game wasn't really able to be as explosive as what we've seen in weeks past. And I thought that this was going to be another week that the Steelers don't score a touchdown. But Russell Wilson, I felt he played pretty well in the fourth quarter. The ground game wasn't really able to be of service, which is really pivotal when you're playing in a game like this, when it's snowing, the weather is really bad. You got to be able to run the football. Najee Harris, it looked like he had his cleat stuck in the turf all afternoon. He was looking like Trent Richardson 2.0 out there. And Jaylen Warren, he should have got more carries in this game. If you would have gave Jaylen Warren and Justin Fields some more touches, then maybe the Steelers offense could have scored a few more points than what they did. But you got to give your hats off to the Cleveland Browns. Jameis Winston played a pretty good game in spite of the 2 turnovers that he had in the fourth quarter. They were able to overcome that. He led them on a nice game-winning touchdown drive, capped off by Nick Chubb. Myles Garrett, listen, him and TJ Watt got some beef going on. Both were competing for the right to be named Defensive Player of the Year. And after him getting 3 sacks, he without a doubt is the front runner for that award. And moving forward for the Steelers, big picture for me is I don't know if this team is going to make it to the playoffs. Because remember, around this same time last year, they were 7-4, and then all of a sudden, they drop 3 straight. They lose to the Cardinals and the Patriots, and then you make the quarterback change from Trubisky to Mason Rudolph, and they're able to rally and get into the playoffs as a 10-win team. But this season, though, your schedule to close out this year is really difficult. You got to play Joe Burrow and the Bengals twice. They're really desperate. The playoffs pretty much has started for them because if they lose another game, then they pretty much got no chance of getting in. You got to play the Philadelphia Eagles, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Kansas City Chiefs early in December to late December. That's probably the toughest 3-game stretch in all of the entire NFL. And with the way this offense has played this season, they've looked good against lower tier competition. But with the Steelers now entering divisional play and playing the best teams on their schedule, your offense is going to have to be better at scoring in the red zone. That's been a theme that's been too common for Pittsburgh this year. You get into the red area and you're unable to come away with touchdowns, so you got to settle for field goals. When you're playing Philadelphia, the Baltimore Ravens on the road, and Kansas City, you got to be able to score touchdowns. Winning games with Chris Boswell being your MVP on offense is not going to help you win against some of the best teams to close out this season. And even Cincinnati, although they have a losing record, they're good enough to beat any team as long as Joe Burrow continues to play the way that he has, and their defense can come up with a few key stops. So there's a strong chance that maybe we see the Steelers probably go on a little bit of a losing streak, man, because this is one of those losses that I could see carrying over to next week. And the big issue that I have with Mike Tomlin as the head coach is you expect to win games like this. The Steelers were the favorite, and they just didn't play like they were the better team for the 3 quarters and some change that they were down before they were able to rally and somewhat take the lead. You know, the offense was getting dominated by the Browns on the line of scrimmage. Not only could you not stop Myles Garrett, but you couldn't have any success running at all. And, you know, I just feel down this stretch, this game kind of is a magnacosm of what's to come for the Steelers to close out this season. Now, I still believe that they will be a playoff team, but I don't know if they're going to hold on to the AFC North title. The Ravens are a better team, in my opinion. Yeah, their defense isn't good, but offensively, they are averaging 30 points per game. They're just more explosive, and I believe the next time the Steelers and the Ravens play, the Ravens are going to win that game. With how much talent they have on the offense side of the football, I do expect them to be able to split the season series 1-1 with this ball club. And the Steelers right now, as good as how this team has played up to this point, a lot of their wins haven't really come against good teams. The best team that they beat prior to Baltimore was against Washington. And the thing about beating the Ravens, why I don't really put a lot of stock in it, is that it's a divisional game. And Mike Tomlin seems to have Lamar Jackson's number. But are you going to be able to slow down Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes? I don't know. And the Steelers are one of those teams where they love playing in one possession ball games. This is a defense that if you give Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts an opportunity to win the game, or even Joe Burrow, they're going to do so. Jameis Winston was moving the ball up and down the field on this defense with ease, and it was really surprising to see him play this well with the weather conditions. And a lot of Steeler fans were complaining about how inept the offense looked, and I'm trying to defend the offense, saying, hey, be a little bit patient. You know, they're playing in an avalanche out there, so of course the passing game and the run game is going to struggle. But, you know, Jameis Winston, he made me look stupid saying that, because if he's having success throwing the football on this secondary, why couldn't we see more out of the Steelers offense? And they were able to get a little bit of a spark when they put Justin Fields in. He had a 30-yard run, which kind of catapulted them getting back into this game. But moving forward, this offense has to be better down the stretch at running the football, and they got to be better at coming away with touchdowns once they get inside the red zone area, because the playoffs pretty much starts now for Pittsburgh. Every team that you have coming up is going to be a formidable foe, and even the Cleveland Browns. Jameis Winston, I said earlier with a friend that if the Browns would have started him week 1, they probably would still be in the hunt to make it to the postseason. Now, they're not mathematically eliminated from playoff contention yet. If they win out, maybe they can sneak in as a 7 seed at 9-8. But 9 times out of 10, they probably aren't going to make it in, but I could definitely see them playing the Steelers close again. And with the tough stretch the Steelers have coming up, especially that tough 3-game skid when you play the Eagles, the Ravens back-to-back on the road, and then the Chiefs at home, and then you end the season playing the Cincinnati team that most likely could be playing to get into the playoffs. I just don't know if I can trust the Steelers to finish off strong. And I wasn't really one of those people that was on the Steelers Super Bowl hype train, because after they beat the Commanders and they beat the Ravens, there was a lot of chatter about this team potentially being a dark horse Super Bowl contender. But as we saw tonight, with how inefficient this offense can be at times, I don't think they're going to go that far in the playoffs. I definitely see them winning a playoff game, but I can't see them getting past the divisional round. But give your thoughts on this game down in the comment section down below. Do you believe that the Steelers can finish the second half of this season strong, or will they have a late season collapse? Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so you don't miss when we go live and drop new content. Remember, you can find this episode and all of our other ones wherever you get your podcast from: Apple, Spotify, Amazon. The links are down in the description down below. Give us a 5-star review if you enjoy. Follow us on Instagram at JTSports_ and on X at JTSports__. And I will see you guys shortly with another episode.